not everybody that comes through the door is gonna go and run and go be in the commercial swine industry, but I think my goal, if I can at least get one in the time that I'm here, in the meantime, I'm at least creating positive pork experiences so that those students can be a better advocate for agriculture and the swine industry.
Welcome to Clear Conversations. We're so excited you could be here with us today. We are at the UC Davis Swine Barn today, talking with the manager here, Miss Shelby. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
And we do have some swine in back of us, so they may make some noise, but they're our studio audience today, so we love them. And we'll explain these blue booties at some point as well today. But, first of all, tell us a little bit about the UC Davis Research and Training Barn here. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so this facility was finished and completed in 2001. We're about 100 sow farrow-to-finish facility where we are running top pig Norseman genetics here. We're our own nucleus herd, so that means because we're a closed herd, we're able to in-house create replacement gilts for future breeding females, which is really important for the longevity and sustainability of our herd to keep going and still have industry relevant genetics. And that's super important for our faculty and staff here to be able to do research projects and also for our students too, to be able to learn from, potentially genetic lines that they might see out in the wild, as I like to call it, out in the industry. It's not UC Davis. So the farrow-to-finish portion of it means that we have all aspects of production here on one site. So that is also a huge feather in our cap here at UC Davis to be able to have this setup of facilities so that the students, not only undergrads, but grad students and even our veterinary, vet med students, they're able to see everything here on one site, and I try to run it as commercially as possible.
Oh, okay.
So we've got a lot of cool things going on here at the barn. So
how rare or how unique is this? Do other universities have something like this, or I'm just curious?
I haven't looked up what the data points are of how many collegiate sow farms there are, but there's not very many of us. So again, just to be able to have this type of facility at UC Davis is
pretty cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
And our facility here, it's the only intensive collegiate sow farm in the state.
Okay.
So if you're wanting to know how, swine are intensively raised, it's going to be here. Everybody else, to my knowledge, has some sort of outdoor production, or they're really focused on the show pig side of things, which is important for our industry because the show pig is a vehicle to get these, young people interested in ag and keep them interested. So we all have our place in the levels of learning, but for here, it's definitely, intensive, commercial, as close as you can get on a university farm. So,
and you talked about the herd. How important is the herd health? And you brought in more gilts in 2023, like a whole new line, from what I understand. Is that how difficult is that, or how rare is that, or?
For us being a closed herd, it was definitely some hoops that we had to jump through, literally and figuratively, almost. It felt like it anyways. A lot of logistics and figuring out, okay, these girls are coming to us this day, where can we put them so that they're happy and healthy, and then make sure that we're good here at, the main farm, happy and healthy, strong, so that we're ready when those girls come in, and that we're not potentially either unknowingly bringing in some sort of disease or illness, or potentially we have something here that could infect a naive female coming in as well. But I started in 2021, and by 2023 I was looking at our record keeping, and I was like, we got to do something different, because what we're doing is not working. We were struggling to get sows pregnant, keep sows pregnant, even have good enough born alive to be able to facilitate even teaching and research at the base level. So it really came down to something's got to give. And I started making some phone calls, and we ended up with Top Pig Norsvin. I have some experience with them commercially, the TN70 line, and the late CEO of Top Pig Norsvin, John Egert. I called him on his personal cell phone number and said, "Your sows are the bee's knees, and I want them here in California. And what do we got to do that?" So. It almost didn't happen because we were really far away from the gilt development unit, but...
Right, South Dakota, right? It was in South
Dakota.
Yeah.
So born in Kansas, went to South Dakota, and then from South Dakota all the way west.
Oh, wow.
So
wow.
It was definitely a trek for those little girls to come across, but forever thankful.
Yeah.
To Top Pig and the team, and... For making my harebrained crazy idea a reality, and allowing us to be a nucleus farm for Z lines, and then in-house create our own TN70 line. So
because like you said, that's a commercial line, so that's kind of again why you want to do it as well, to teach these students here that this is kind of what you're going to see out in the real world, quote unquote. So that's why it was important as well. So you talked about harebrained ideas. I like that. You're the manager here. Tell us what tell us what a typical day is. Do you have a typical day, or tell us what you do? I mean, besides everything, this lady does a lot. Tell us what you do as manager here.
So I mean, a typical day, I guess if you want to call it typical, day is the same. Which sometimes is fun, and sometimes is not. Yeah. Sometimes you just want to break.
Right.
But no, for the most part, typically we get in about 6:30 in the morning. We're choring, we're feeding, animal health checks, making sure everybody's alive, happy and healthy. My little friends back here are agreeing. Anything that we need to do production-wise, we're a 4-week batch system, so sometimes that varies. There's a week during the month that we're breeding, there's a week during the month that we're farrowing, weaning, all of those things. So it's not, a consistent schedule like what a commercial facility would be. But yeah, every day is different, but consistently we're in here in the morning, we're feeding, we're making sure everybody's happy and healthy, and then we're going from there. My day can consist of a 4-H or FFH who are coming through, or, dealing with undergrads and classwork and things like that. So it really varies, and it's truly a fun position to be in because every day is different. And to be able to have a lot of different touches on young people that are coming through the barn. Now, not everybody that comes through the front door here is going to go and run and go be in the commercial swine industry, but I think my goal, if I can at least get one in the time that I'm here, then maybe I've done something. But in the meantime, I'm at least creating positive pork experiences so that those students can be a better advocate for agriculture and the swine industry in general. So I think that's more important than, patting myself on the back or giving myself that gold star and saying, well, I got, 5 kids in the industry, when I have more touches than, just basing off of my success on who's going back into the industry.
Right.
So.
I was going to ask you about that. What kind of skills do you hope students leave here with? What kind of, besides being an advocate, the skills working with the sound?
So you mentioned, I'm a one-lady band, so it is, I joke with my student employees that it's us against the world. I'm the only full-time employee here, so I rely heavily on undergraduate labor, which has its pros and cons, but we are a university facility, so they're here to learn. And like I said, being able to facilitate that, they know how to do darn near everything. If they want to learn, I will take them under my wing, so to speak, and teach them all of my wizardly knowledge. I call it that too. So that, if they want a skill, the only person that's really standing in their way is them if they want to learn it. So, I mean, day one sow watch, administering medications and knowing when and how, what medications, breeding, heat checking, preg checking. I mean, you name it. If it's on a swine farm, they at least have dipped their toe in it, if not proficient in it. I'm a really big advocate for getting kiddos out in the industry for summer internships, because I can only show them so much with a 100 sow herd, right? You know, if there's an industry they're interested in, I'm a really big advocate for them getting out in the industry. Of course, I'm a little biased because I want them to go into the swine industry, but yeah, it's just, you know, they are well-rounded in their skill set.
Oh, I bet.
And it kind of comes from necessity, because I can't do it all.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I like to think that I can, but
don't we all? Don't we all?
I cannot. So.
But a good hands-on experience. You know,
Yes.
you can't beat that. I mean, honestly, going into the real world, getting that hands-on experience like here is huge. It's so huge. So how did you get into all this, or why do you love these pigs so much? Why this industry? Why are you so passionate about it? I'm just curious.
So I had wanted to be a large animal veterinarian since probably I was about this tall, and that's, I think, all of us when we decide that we want to be a veterinarian. It's not, you know, late high school where we're like, well, yeah, that sounds cool. It's from a young age, and I'm not really sure where that came from or where that passion sparked from, but I just remember from a young age that was the career trajectory. I went to Michigan State. Career directory was veterinary medicine. I had the opportunity to show pigs in 4-H in high school, and that's really where the spark for the swine industry came from, and really why I'm a big advocate for, you know, show pigs and the vehicle to get those kids interested. And then I went to Michigan State University for my bachelor's of animal science, and general chemistry humbled me twice. And I needed a plan B. I needed something different because vet med was not going to be the track for me. So I was like, okay, I know I like pigs. I showed pigs. I had switched advisors. And Dr. Gretchen Hill, she was my advisor. She was like, well, you like show pigs. Why don't we get you in at the Michigan State swine barn? Okay. Yeah. I mean, I know about this much about pigs. I know you got to feed them and water them and keep them alive and make sure that they're not, you know.
Do I need to know more? Is there more?
Right. I got there and I fell in love with it. I think by the time I graduated in 2015, I'm gonna age myself here. I think I told my dad I want to go farrow sows out, and if I have to live in a cardboard box, then that's what I'll do. Like I was that passionate about it. And I've worked for a couple of large integrators and, you know, made my way out west. I was in Arizona a year before I got here, working with layer hens. I did a complete 180. Really started missing the pigs. It was 2020. You know, and just wanted to get back into the industry, but didn't think being on the commercial side of things was going to be for me. You know, it was kind of like I've done that. I want to kind of switch it up, but still be a part of the industry, and saw this position available on LinkedIn. So shout out LinkedIn. And, you know, Animal Care Supervisor 1, UC Davis. Well, what's that? You know, I clicked on it and they're like, we got a swine farm that we're looking for a manager for. And I'm like, well, heck yeah, you know, no snow and pigs. Sign me up. And I've been here 5 years this year. So, really just come in full circle. I've really got my start on a university swine facility, and shout out to Kevin Turner at Michigan State University swine facility. He really did. He took me under his wing, and I truly did learn a lot in my time there. I was there for 3 of my 4 years as an undergrad. I mean, I joked by the time I graduated I was a fossil. I knew that farm by like the back of my hand. I could probably walk in there today and tell you where darn near everything is. but besides the point. Just to come from one university farm and then full circle end up in another university farm as management, and being able to facilitate that positive pork experience, and maybe, just maybe, one student, you know, to be able to facilitate the experience that I had. That, you know, I came in, I knew a little bit about pigs from 4-H or FFA, and just fell in love with it, you know what I mean? And just decided from there that was going to be what I was going to do, you know what I mean? So,
can you tell in students when they come in here that maybe they have that same spark that you did, that love? Can you tell immediately, like, oh, they might be the next Shelby, or they might have it in them?
There's some of them that I think that's what it's going to be, and then they, you know, they segue off and they go do their own thing, which I love to see that too. You know what? You found your
passion,
your niche in the world, and that's what you're going to go do.
Yeah.
And then there's the dark horses that you didn't even really expect it. They might be an inner city kid. They're coming from Southern California. They're coming from the Bay Area, and they've never seen a pig a day before in their life. And they're like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm like, heck yeah, like, let's go do this, you know? So.
But you do have to have a passion for it, like you do. Like, you've got to have that spark inside that this is what I want to do, and I know I want to do this with my life. You know what I mean? Like, and you're such a big advocate, too. On a national level, I know you've gone to DC and advocated as well. Talk a little bit about that, how important that is. And you just came back from the National Pork Industry Forum. Maybe tell us a little bit about that too. What was that like?
So yeah, just getting involved from a national level. One, to just kind of put UC Davis Swine Facility on the map, because when I got here, I don't think anybody knew that we were out here. And I was like, well, dang, this facility's been here for 20 plus years, you know what I mean? Like, we've got really cool things going on here. You know, farrow-to-finish, we've got all of the things, and, you know, we should really be, you know, telling everybody about this, right?
Right.
So coming from a, you know, just from a exposure standpoint, giving back to the industry that has given me so much just so early on in my career, being involved with National Pork Producers Council and advocating and essentially, you know, lobbying for our producers of things that we need to be able to, you know, have that freedom to operate and make sure that we're here for the next generation, is just so important. You know, I know past President Lori Stevemer, she's always said, you know, the world is run by those who show up, and that I just really took that to heart and ran with it. So much so that I ran for MPPC's board. Just being able to give back to the industry, being able to advocate for our pork producers, being a voice for them, I think is so important, you know. Another good quote, Kylie Denise from Oklahoma Pork, you know, you're either at the table or you're on the table when it comes to these issues too that are, you know, really affecting what's going on at the slat level, you know, the day-to-day reality of these producers. And I know, you know, we're kind of in our bubble here at UC Davis, but it's not forgotten just because I'm in a university setting now. I still reflect back on those commercial days and, you know, can empathize and really put myself in those sort of, in their shoes, in their boots, really, and empathize with that, because the world is tough enough, along with everything else, you know, and the threat of potentially being regulated out of existence, when really all we're here to do is feed the world. Right. So it's tough.
Yeah. Oh, it is. I mean, agriculture is tough, and it's a sustainable product too, which we talk about a lot at the Clear Center, obviously too. But you mentioned it there. But let's talk about some of those cool things. This is a research and training center, so talk about maybe some of the research going on here, if you want. Some of the research that you've been involved with, or that you've seen that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of different projects that are ongoing. We have Dr. Berger's gene-edited Pigs. So we have a line of pigs here on farm that are gene edited. They look like regular pigs. They don't glow in the dark or anything crazy like that.
Okay.
But her project looking at deleting the boar taint gene to look at growth efficiencies and essentially potentially making a line of pigs that you wouldn't have to castrate, and would still have the same flavor profile and scent profile as a castrated male pig, as a castrated barrow, going to the slaughter facility. So I think the project was originally looking at growth efficiencies and things like that. I know in the shop behind us here we have our Gestall electronic feeders here in Finisher. That's part of that project as well, and that's going to be starting up here pretty soon. So we're kind of segueing from the genetic side of things into the nutrition side of things, and I think Dr. Yan-Hong Liu, she's going to be a part of that. So that's one project that's been ongoing. The other one is just with Dr. Liu and her team of grad students, and doing nutritional challenges and sort of trying to get those pigs through an E. coli challenge with just nutrition, which is super relevant in the industry, because that's something that they battle with on a real regular basis.
Yeah,
so being able to keep those little guys healthy.
And the little piglets we're talking about. The little guys and gals.
So being able to keep them healthy and strong.
Yeah.
At wean, after wean, and into going into Finisher is crucial, right? Because you're not going to get any money for one that's going out the door that's no longer alive or is sick or anything like that. So super crucial. We've had some animal behavior trials going on out here as well. Teaching them how to do puzzles and other kind of cool stuff, and different enrichment in the sow pens. That's been fun too, seeing what they're more favorable to interact with. So definitely a lot of cool things going out here.
Yeah, because there's still stuff that you're probably learning too, or kind of like, oh, that's interesting, I didn't know that, or that's cool that research is going on as well.
Yeah.
And we talked about too the research, but also the impact to the greater community. You're really good about having groups out here and sharing what you have, the knowledge, your wizardly knowledge with others. Yes. Talk a little bit about that and how important that is to kind of, make impact beyond the campus here too.
Yeah, so we do a lot of outreach with 4-H and FFA groups. Those advisors will reach out to me, hey, when are you available for a tour? And I mean, it's kids as little as clover climbers all the way up to, late high school age FFA kids or early college, sort of Farm Bureau leadership programs as well. So it's truly a wide range, and just being able to bring them in here and get them that exposure, because a lot of times too, if they're just raising a pig for a project animal, they don't see this side of things, right? They go and they pick out their pig, and then they raise it at home, and then they go to the fair, and then that's it, right? Like, what is the origin point? You know what I mean? What happens in the farrowing house? What happens when they go through the next phases of production? And what does gestation look like? And all of those things. And we can really tailor it so that it's age appropriate, so we're not having mom and dad have any awkward conversations on the ride home, or we can really dive deep and really talk about things. And make sure that it's, still a learning experience, and it's fun for them, and that they're getting something out of it. So the tour is super important. We do dabble a little bit in the show pig side of things. I know we said we run this facility commercial, but we do have some crossbred show pig sows here. And that's always fun come this fall when I get to pick out the show pig boars and order in the semen and get those girls bred, and then it's kind of like Christmas when they go to farrow, because you don't really, sometimes you know what you might get, but a lot of times you don't. So there's a lot of color. Late fall, early winter, and into early spring. So that's a fun portion of it too, to be able to just kind of get get creative and kind of play just a little bit with, I got this really cool looking sow, and let me try to find a boar that complements her and see if I can really make some cool show pigs to be able to sell as project animals for those kids too. So.
Because here in California, I mean, there's not a lot of swine farm, obviously, so this is a great opportunity for them, like we talked about, to see the actual production and to see things that they're not going to be able to see anywhere else.
Yeah.
So, but we did talk about, too, we were going to explain the blue booties. I don't want to forget about that. You do have people in, but there is strict biosecurity here. Tell us a little bit about that, because you got to keep this herd healthy, and that is a big point of not concern, but a big point of what you do here, I would think.
Yeah, so we operate with sort of a Dutch entry system. That's sort of our strict barrier point. That kind of lets any visitors know, hey, there might be an extra step for me to do before I can just waltz into the barn, essentially.
Right, saunter in.
Yes, yeah, just come on in. So the boot covers, that's what we keep referring to as the blue things here on our feet. So any street shoes, anything like that, we sit on the bench, we put on a boot cover, we swing that leg over to the clean side. It's just in an effort to make sure that we're not dragging in any contaminants or anything that unknowingly is a carrier of disease that could potentially make our herd sick. We really do truly pride ourselves in staying healthy and maintaining that health level. Because dealing with sick animals isn't fun for anybody, just even for the animals it's not fun, for the employees it's not fun, a morale standpoint it's just not great. So we really do make sure that we keep our animals healthy. We do the boot covers, we make sure that, anybody that's coming into the barn has had 24 hours down from any other swine contact domestically. Any recent international travel, especially with all the foreign animal diseases that are going around, I've kind of bumped that up to, depending on where you're coming from and where you've traveled to, anywhere from 7 to 14 days. No other swine contact, you're showering, clean clothes, the whole 9 yards. Because it really is that important, right? That we're keeping these animals healthy.
What do you wish more people knew about pigs? What are we getting wrong about pigs? What's the big misconception out there? What do you wish people knew more about with them?
When people think about pigs, it's, and especially in the Midwest, because it is more intensive there, and that's where a lot of the pig population is, just simply because that's where the food is, right? That's where the corn and the soybeans are grown. When you think of a pig farm, it's not the big hip roof barn and in the pasture and things like that. It's inside. It seems like it's closed in. It seems like they're, the farmers are trying to hide something, but really, truly, we're not. We're just trying to keep our animals happy and healthy and safe.
Right. We got nothing to hide. Come on in.
Exactly.
Right.
We might have to have you put on some booties, or you might have to, other facilities, you might have to shower in. There might be another extra step, but really, truly, at the end of the day, we want to share our story too. I mean, this is our livelihood. This is what we're passionate about. This is what puts a roof over our head and food on the table. So we're going to try our damnedest to come out here every day and do a good job. We're not out here to be cruel. Everything that we do has a purpose. But I think at the end of the day too, that people have to remember that these are production animals. They're not pets. We've got the vet hospital right down the road. But loading them up in the trailer and taking them there, I mean, yeah, we can take them there, but they can't come back because we're a closed herd, right? So once they leave, they can't come back. So really, whatever we can do for that pig while we're here is going to be what we can do. And it's that way in the commercial industry too, right? We're not going to be trucking and trailering them everywhere, trying to get them, to a veterinary hospital and do all of these extraordinary measures. We're going to do what we can do. We really wish that people would come to us and ask us and be ready to have that conversation, because too many people just think they know what's happening, or, got on the Google and put into the search bar, and came up with all this god-awful stuff and probably 90% of the time, that's not the reality of what's actually going on. You know what I mean?
The Google can get it wrong,
yes,
too. Yeah, the Google can get it wrong at times, too.
You know, if you really want to know what's going on at a pig farm, ask a pig farmer.
You know, what's your favorite part about this? You know, that being said, that people, you know, we talked about what people don't know about, but what is your favorite part of working in this industry and working in agriculture?
In a university setting, again, being able to create that positive pork experience and really see that light bulb kind of click on for students, and get them that hands-on experience. In my opinion, although I will say I'm a little biased, I don't have much experience in any of the other industries, but I will say that our industry is probably the most welcoming. You know, we have all of the national events, we have World Pork Expo. I mean, World Pork Expo is a trade show, but really it's, you know, go talk to the person that you haven't seen for, you know, the past year or so, and hey, heck, how you been? How are things going? You know, and just the camaraderie and the networking. And I know even my undergrads have seen that, you know, and been fortunate enough to be able to take those kids to see World Pork Expo. And heck, we've got 6 or 7 of them going to Iowa State's immersive swine week here in May. I look at my fake watch here. They're headed out to Iowa in May. To really truly have that commercial experience. You know, I can talk about it from my experience, but until you see what a 2,500, what a 4,000 sow farm really looks like and how it operates, you know, it doesn't click, right? So I'm really proud of them for kind of putting themselves out there and applying, and I'm just really excited for them. So that's cool too. That's a fun part of this job too, of finding those experiences and you know, hey, you're here, you know what you're doing. I think you should apply for this and really put yourself out there and see if you get it, you know. Shoot for the stars or shoot for the moon and land among the stars, I guess. I always tell them, you know, it took a village for me to be able to get my piece of paper that says I'm smart and I can do stuff in my office. It's on the wall. And if they need me in that village, then I will be in that village. You know, we're not a very big campus here at UC Davis, but any way that you can make it smaller and maybe feel just a little bit more like home, and that you know that there's somebody in Davis, at UC Davis, that, you know, cares. And will reach out, and if they see you on the street, oh, hey, how you doing? Or, you know, shoot you a message, hey, I thought of you, and here's this. It really, truly makes a difference, so.
Well, you're amazing. You make a difference every day. To know Shelby is to love her, and we can't thank you enough for sharing some of your wizardly knowledge with us. Yeah, you know, you're just a delight. You're making a difference in a lot of people's lives, so we thank you so much for taking time to speak with us today. You're lovely. And we thank you for joining us on Clear Conversations. We'll see you again next time.